James Carter had never thought life could change in a single day. Just a week ago, he was the man with everything, a stable corporate job, a loving wife, and a small but warm home that echoed with laughter. But fate, cruel as ever, had other plans. When the company downsized, James's name was on the list. After 12 years of loyalty, he was discarded like an old file. The walk out of the office, carrying a single box of his belongings, felt heavier than any burden he'd ever known. At home, he expected comfort. He expected his wife, Rebecca, to hug him, to reassure him. Instead, he got a look of disdain. "You lost the job?" she asked, her voice sharp as broken glass. "Yes," James admitted softly, "but it's temporary. I'll find another." "Temporary?" She laughed bitterly. "You failed, James. Do you know what failure looks like?" "Look in the mirror." James swallowed hard, fighting back shame. That night he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, while Rebecca texted someone under the covers. He pretended not to notice, but deep down, he already knew. 3 days later, Rebecca dropped the bomb. "I want a divorce," she said, throwing papers on the table. James stared. "What? Why?" "Because of a job." "Rebecca, I've given you everything." "You can't even keep a job, James. How could you ever keep a woman like me?" She sneered, lips curling. "You're nothing but a failure now." "I deserve better." The doorbell rang. James opened it, and there stood his best friend, Daniel, the man he trusted like a brother, the man who had held the rings at his wedding. Rebecca walked over to Daniel and slid her arm through his. "Better," she whispered. James felt his soul shatter. "You?" he whispered at Daniel. Daniel smirked, unapologetic. "She deserves a real man, not a broke dreamer." Rebecca leaned in, kissed Daniel in front of James, and said, "Sign the papers." James signed. He had no fight left in him. Nights blurred into mornings. Bottles replaced meals. The house, once alive, became a graveyard of broken furniture and torn photographs. But beneath the ashes of despair, a fire sparked. On the night he found Rebecca and Daniel posting smiling photos online, their new perfect. Life flaunted shamelessly. James slammed his fist into the mirror. Blood trickled down his knuckles. His reflection stared back, broken, bruised, but burning. "They think I'm finished," he muttered. "But they don't know me." James vanished from their world. He sold what little he had left and moved into a cheap apartment. He studied, trained, and rebuilt himself. He took freelance jobs, then small business deals. His sharp mind, once wasted in corporate chains, became his weapon. Within 2 years, James had built a thriving consultancy. By year 3, he was running an empire. Money returned. Confidence returned. But he wasn't after wealth. He was after revenge. Rebecca and Daniel's fairy tale was rotting beneath the surface. Daniel couldn't hold a job. Rebecca's beauty, once worshipped, now seemed entitled and demanding. Debt piled up. They sold Rebecca's jewelry. Daniel gambled. Fights became routine, and then James returned. He didn't announce himself. Instead, he bought out the company Daniel was working for. Overnight, Daniel's career was under James's thumb. At a corporate event, Rebecca saw him across the hall, tailored suit, confidence glowing. Women whispering his name, her jaw dropped. "James," she whispered. Daniel stiffened. "It can't be." "Oh, it is," James smiled, raising his glass. James began his revenge slowly. Daniel was given impossible projects, deadlines that crushed him. Rebecca was invited to events where James arrived with women more elegant, more powerful than she had ever been. Every encounter cut her deeper. One night, Rebecca cornered James outside a gala. "You've changed," she said softly. "No," James corrected. "I just became who I always was. You were too blind to see it." Her eyes welled up. "James, I made a mistake." He laughed bitterly. "A mistake? You don't stab someone in the back and call it a mistake." Daniel crumbled. Fired for incompetence, drowned in debt, he turned to alcohol. Rebecca, once the queen, now pawned her dresses. Her once perfect life was in ruins. Meanwhile, James's empire grew. He didn't just succeed, he dominated. But the sweetest part? Watching Rebecca and Daniel destroy each other. It happened on a rainy night. Rebecca showed up at James's mansion, soaked and trembling. "Please," she begged, "take me back. Daniel's ruined me. I was wrong. You're the man I should have chosen." James looked at her. The woman who had mocked him, betrayed him, and left him to die inside. He leaned close, whispered in her ear, and said, "You can't even keep a man, Rebecca. How could you ever keep a man like me?" Her face crumpled. She screamed, a raw, broken scream that echoed through the marble halls. James turned away, leaving her on her knees. That scream wasn't just her pain. It was his closure. James no longer needed revenge. He had risen beyond her reach. He invested in charities, mentored young entrepreneurs, and became a symbol of resilience. His story wasn't of betrayal anymore. It was of rebirth. Years later, when Rebecca passed him on the street, older, broken, forgotten, she looked at him with hollow eyes. James didn't hate her anymore. He didn't feel pity either, he simply nodded. A king acknowledging a ghost. Because true revenge isn't destroying someone else. It's rebuilding yourself so powerfully that their betrayal no longer matters. And James had done exactly that.